This video was originally made for Besiege version 1.1, but it took so long making it that the developers updated again to version 1.2. So I'll add a section at the end for those new updates. Hello YouTube! I have great news and I have amazing news. This channel is still active and so is the Besiege development team. I'll let you decide which is which. They released Besiege version 1.1, which adds 64-bit support and many other great changes. For starters, several things that used to annoy me are now fixed. There was a bug that threw an error that you're clipping the bottom of the bounding box even when you're not. And there was an unnecessary dialog box that I always felt compelled to close. And worst of all, the camera used to get way off kilter when you dropped bombs. But version 1.1 fixes all of these problems. Also, you used to be limited to 3 keybinds per function. But now you can go up to 5. They converted Ypsilon castles to a new type of brick that can be destroyed without explosives. I have mixed feelings about this. On the one hand, it's nice not to be obliged to put a bomb somewhere on your machine, and to have to worry about blowing yourself up until you use it. You have more options to attack the castles, whether you're going for speed or low block count, or just having fun with a giant crazy death machine. Plus, if you miss your shot with your bomb, you still have a chance to win. But on the other hand, this kind of defeats the main challenge of the original game, which was focused on designing a catapult or aircraft or something to get the bomb where it needs to go. Now, if you just stumble into the castle enough times, you win. In any case, if you get nostalgic for the old brick, you can still find it in a few odd places. In addition to building new castles, they also updated some of the other models. This attention to detail really shows the love the developers have for their art. They also updated the requirements to beat strange artifacts. It used to be that if you put the keys in flipped, it wouldn't work. But now you can put them in either way. In ambush, this guy still slips to the ground. I think it's because he and the tent are clipping slightly, so the tent pushes him when the simulation starts. Now there are hot air balloons in the sandbox to help you practice with aerial targets. Sadly, the vacuum glitch is still there. If an object the vacuum is attracting disappears, the vacuum stops working. Some levels have objects that disappear when disturbed, and that can unfairly sabotage the player's machine, so it's an important glitch. I noticed some other weirdness while I was designing my machine for this video. Flying spirals have more air resistance when they're running, even if their thrust is set to 0. If you map the arrow keys to any functions as shown, you can't run all 3 at once. This seems to only affect the arrow keys. Perhaps the biggest change in the update is 64-bit support, which lets 64-bit computers use their full power. Now my monster truck that used to be so laggy runs at 60 FPS, even while I'm recording. If you tried Woodfoot earlier and found it to be too laggy, please give it another chance at the Steam Workshop link below. While I was using this newfound power to tackle some zones that I didn't in my Woodfoot video, I did notice a strange glitch. Penitent Tower seems to collapse on its own sometimes. I knew I wanted to give you guys a new machine, especially since it's been so long since I've posted. The result is a bizarre contradiction of a machine, a high-speed fighter blimp. I used a lot of trial and error to achieve neutral buoyancy, balanced thrust and turning, and even balanced cannon recoil that leaves you stable and ready for the next shot. Oh, this isn't it, by the way. This is the Harrier Blimp. I already had a fun fighter blimp tuned and ready to go, but I thought I could do better, so I started over from scratch. The result is much faster, and it carries more speed through turns. I used the additional keybinds from the update to include 3 sets of controls. One is jet-like, another is car-like, and the third is a low-speed control for precisely aiming the cannon. Also, while the fast controls always tilt up and down like a jet, the aiming controls let you go straight up and down to make maneuvering even easier. And you can still tilt to point the cannon. Plus, as you can see, it still controls well even if you add a bomb or other weapon of similar weight. I beat the final zone again, this time without using a bomb or taking any damage, to get a preview image for the Steam Workshop. The 1.2 update messed up the skin for the black balloons, so I went with marine blue instead. The Harrier Blimp can even prove its worthiness by pulling the sword from the stone, and use its agility for other missions as well. Since the Harrier Blimp's raison d'etre is smooth, effortless speed, I'll conclude this demo with a hot lap around Shadé's Dubai Search and Rescue. In addition to weaving around the obstacles, I also have to stay below a certain altitude, which creates a tight squeeze toward the end. This was going to be the end of the video, but now it's time for the version 1.2 amendment. They added a new Zone 3 to Ypsilon, in which you must destroy at least 2 of the 3 wagons. This makes it the earliest zone with multiple targets to destroy. The wagon designs are creative and new, and add something to the aesthetic of Ypsilon. Of course, I have to get in the customary low block count, high speed runs. They also added a hot air balloon block, which is a fixed balloon that lets you hover in place and go up and down. I've noticed some strange properties of it. If your craft is light enough, you can ascend a little faster with added propulsion, but the speed of descent is forcibly limited even if you add downward force or weight. But on a heavier craft, added upward force doesn't make you rise faster either. On a fast aircraft, things get weird. Much like the logic blocks used to stabilize an aircraft, the hot air balloon's corrections have delays that become very noticeable at speed. And if the aircraft climbs and falls with pitch, the balloons can end up trying to maintain different heights. So, while it is a remarkable coincidence that they added a block like this just as I released a blimp, it doesn't make my design obsolete. So those are my favorite parts of the recent updates. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll try to come up with more content when I can.